I got a call to go in to see the people who are doing this show called Fernwood Tonight. And whoever called me said they want you to be the host. And I said, oh, that's interesting, because at Second City I had played, we'd done a show about an amateur hour, where I was the host of a show called The Amateur Hour, and all these awful amateurs came on. One of them played a musical broom, and one of them had a catatonic fit on the show. And I said, that's right down my alley. And meanwhile, I'd done a pilot for a show called Space Patrol or something. I was a spoof on Star Trek and those shows. So I thought, I was the star of that. I said, gee, I'll be a star of a sitcom. That'll be great. So they called me in. They said, no, you're not going to be the host. You're going to be the co-host. You're going to be like the Ed McMahon. And I said, gee, I'm not quite right for that. They said, Martin Mull is going to be the host. I said, oh, God, he's great. I just seen him in a club. I said, but to be the Ed McMahon, I started listing other people who would be good for it. And they said, no, don't list other people. Everyone thinks you'll be just right for it. And I said, I don't know. I've done this pilot for this space spoof. And they said, well, again, they said, would you just come in for a week while we do run-throughs until we find someone who'll be right for it? I said, okay, sure. So I went in, and I found it so hip, and I just fell in love with Martin Mull. He had such a sharp sense of humor that after about 4 or 5 days, I went up to them, and I said, guys, I think I'd like to do this. I mean, it was much... I wasn't the Ed McMahon. As Martin Mull pointed out several times, it was not a spoof of The Tonight Show, because that would last about one night. What it was is a show, a cable show that came on in this little town of Fernwood, where Mary Hartman was done, and someone wondered what it would be like if they had their own cable talk show. So we did it, and the first night, I would sit next to Martin, and then they'd move me down as the guests came on, and I would sit further and further down. And Norman Lear wanted it to be like a one-camera show, that when it came time for the guest to speak, they'd set the camera on him, and it was my turn, the camera on the third person. And one of the producers, who was Alan Thicke, a lot of people don't know that, said, Norman, we can't do that. It would take forever. Just make it like a talk show. So Alan said, well, okay, do what you want. So I think Martin and I clicked so well that they redid the first show. They said, let's leave Fred sitting next to Martin. So this crazy interplay.